C-2008, the only time you head out to a remote island is for a vacation getaway. But it's everyday life for an entire region in Alaska, the Southeast Panhandle. Down one side of the Panhandle runs a 500-mile-long spine of high mountain peaks and wilderness. On the other, the region is hemmed in by the vast and stormy North Pacific Ocean. And locked between the jaws of this mammoth vice, 1,000 rugged islands that are home to 43 remote and scattered communities. Folks who live in Southeast are effectively cut off and isolated from the outside world. That's because there's just no practical way to run roads over this kind of terrain. You want to head over to the next town? You can't just jump in the car and drive there. Instead, you got to take this. From the town of Wrangell in southeast Alaska, getting on Columbia, the flagship of the Alaska Marine Highway System. It's a 408-foot-long roll-on, roll-off ferry, and it stitches together the roadless southeast of Alaska. My destination is Juneau, just 150 miles north as the crow flies, but a 12-hour overnight trip by ferry. Alaska's just a watery place. More than 33,000 miles of coastline, twice the coastline of all the rest of the states combined. You can't get here from there in Alaska unless you're using a vessel like this. One of 11 ferries in the state-run Alaska Marine Highway System. So the region's inhabitants leave the driving to this man, Captain Scott Hendrickson.
Captain Hendrickson.
Yeah.
I'm Geo Beach.
Yeah, Scott Hendrickson. How are you, Geo? Nice to meet you.
Scott's been working on Alaska ferries for 20 years.
Increase to 15.
So he knows how much folks are counting on him to get this ship through safely.
We take people, we take cars, vehicles of any size. We haul mail, we haul the groceries. So it's a lifeline. When planes can't fly, we make sure people get from A to B. That's happened with emergency situations.
The ferries are tough, really. I mean, the planes can get weathered out, and frequently so in Southeast,
Yeah, they do.
but you can literally plow through.
It's a lifeline. It's lifeblood of Southeast Alaska, without a doubt.
The ferries carry passengers to isolated towns up and down the 500-mile-long panhandle by way of channels that crisscross the region's islands. The only dependable way to travel between towns in this isolated part of the world is by boat. But even that's tougher on the panhandle, as I was finding out back on the ferry Columbia a few months later. I'm working with the ferry crew on their overnight run from Wrangell to Juneau. This marine highway system is the only way to connect remote towns together. That doesn't mean it's going to be clear sailing.
Just coming through Blind Slough over here to the right-hand side tonight.
Blind Slough doesn't sound too encouraging.
No, that's where a lot of the fog will originate from there, and so it can kind of catch you because you're already committed to the Narrows. Then you find the fog in here.
I see.
So.
And when you're done, you take a shower, huh?
Well, I've ruined a shirt or two, that's for sure.
Scott has good reason to sweat. It may look calm out there, but the channels along the panhandle are treacherous. Powerful currents, big tides, and dangerous rocks.
So you don't run all the way out to the edge of these markers here because there's just not enough water there. Right, 20.
Since 1741, more than 600 ships have wrecked in the hazardous waters here. Even today, all sorts of vessels outfitted with high-tech navigation aids get into trouble. In fact, Scott and his crew are often first responders when an accident occurs, as a big one did just recently.
Now, I know that your vessel actually came to the rescue of almost 300 people here on a cruise ship grounding just a little bit ago, huh?
Yeah, Empress of the North had some trouble over there towards Icy Strait, and the Columbia was on scene.
For the 206 passengers and 75 crew on the Empress of the North, at 1 o'clock this morning, a brutal wake-up call.
We ran over rocks. We suddenly came awake.
You say, oh my goodness, this is not going to be good.
Luckily, the Columbia and other vessels were nearby and sped to the rescue. they plucked 300 people out of the icy water.
We were able to safely evacuate the passengers onto the Alaska Marine Highway System ferry Columbia.
Columbia, loaded with passengers and crew, making its way back to Juneau.
This could have been really bad. Middle of the night, big tides. It could have been really bad. They're really lucky. Really lucky.
But luck isn't what Scott depends on.
344.
He's got a couple decades worth of piloting these waters under his belt, and he'll need every bit of it for what lies ahead.
I just can't believe, looking out, that you're going to drive a 400-foot vessel through here.
It's quite a challenge for any navigator, even on a good day.
The Alaska Marine Highway System ferries are the only way to drive between remote towns in the roadless panhandle. But this highway is a lot tougher to navigate than your average interstate. We're entering the most hazardous waters of this overnight trip to Juneau, the Wrangell Narrows, a 22-mile stretch of tight turns and dangerous shallows.
I just can't believe, looking out, that you're going to drive a 400-foot vessel through here.
You got to be ready for anything. So we'll see what happens here. We got to make a course change here. Right 10. Or 322. Left 15. 20 left. 348.
I wouldn't mind getting a turn at the wheel, but not on this stretch.
010, thanks. 2 right on the compass, 012. 344. Midship. 15 right. 348. You can see we got small boat traffic. 344. Tight. Keep getting in there with us. It's a little too tight. 012. 2 more right on the compass. Left 15. Right past this aid up here on the left, the green aid, that little island. Right 10. 344. Okay, I gotta watch this guy. I'm just gonna try this guy.
For a man who's just gone through False Point and Danger Point and Vexation Point, you seem pretty cool, calm, and collected there.
It's about time to get your hands on the wheel. What do you think?
How do you steer this vessel?
Turn the wheel in, turn whatever degree on the rudder.
And what I'm supposed to be about to be doing is just steering to keep us on 337.
I've never steered anything from 5 stories up.
Go ahead, take over.
So just going straight is a constant dynamic activity.
Yes, because of the force of nature against the side of the ship. Current wind. Bring it back the other way. Watch this angle.
This is not as easy as it looks. I can't even keep us on a straight line.
Keep her on 337. You can do it. You can do it.
Mike's there afterwards too. I think I'm going to have to take a shower. You know, we're starting to get kind of close to Petersburg. And right here, I'm just about on line 337. Is it time to give it back to you before I go too far off course?
You've done well.
Well, thank you for your coaching and your expertise.
Okay.
I see it, but you, I know, feel it. You can tell me what to do just from the feel of this boat behind you.
You can feel on your feet if you're experienced enough.